So let's say I'm making a website to sell some stuff, which is obviously very common. All right, up until this point, we would do this. So let's say I had some socks to sell or whatever. So I would say, okay, I've got this variable. I've got socks, or I should say product 1 equals socks. I think we would all agree that this is something that we would do up until this point. And then I would say let's product 1 cost equals, I don't know, $5. And then I would say let product 1 in stock equals true, a variable to keep track of if I had this item in stock available to sell. So we would kind of create this little bookkeeping, all these variables that really just attacked one thing we were interested in. So why do I have to make 3 things? I don't want to keep track of 3 things that all relate to the same thing. That's just too much work. I'm too lazy. I can barely keep track of one thing as it is. So wouldn't it be great if we could just shove all of these inside something and just keep it all in one place? Well, that's basically what an object is. So I'm going to make an object here. So I'm going to say let product, that's the name of the variable, equals, and then kind of, we've used these braces before with our functions. And everything about this product, I'm going to shove inside these braces. Now, I haven't talked too much about it, but we've used this let keyword to create variables. For objects, you can use const, which is short for constant. It won't change anything if you used let, but I've held off on this particular variable to not confuse you, but I think it's enough time has passed where we can switch this up and we can use a different keyword to create a type of variable. So in this product, I'm going to define a property. And if I'm selling socks, maybe a good property to start with would be, I don't know, the name of what I'm selling. So in this case, I'm selling socks. There is one property. So I've basically taken this variable and I've shoved it inside my object. Now, if you're creating objects, you probably have many properties with different values. So I'm going to put a comma. And on a new line, I will define another property. So up here, I had a variable for cost. So I'm going to create a property for cost, I guess. Now, if you're working with numbers, you don't need these quotations. So I will just put 5. And let's add a third property. So I will say in stock. And these types of value, you can create variables that are true or false. And I will say for now we have it in stock. So I'll say true. Now on your very last property, you don't need a comma, but what you do need is a semicolon on the end of your last brace. So we've created an object called product, and it's got 3 properties. And each of these properties have a value. So we would call this a property value pair. Here is a property, here is a value. Together, it's a property value pair. So now, in my code, in my future code, I don't have to keep track of 3 different variables, and maybe it was 4, 5, 6, 7, however many you want. You can add however many you want inside your object. All I have to do is keep track of the product, the name, the variable name that is holding this object. And the beautiful thing about that is if I hit my console log using my variable name, my object name. So if I open my console, I get this object because I console logged it, and I've got everything I need about this object. I've got the cost, I've got the name, this true or false in stock. It's perfect. So all of this junk, keeping track of 3 things, I've created a single object that just has 3 things inside it. And I can access these 3 things through the object, the variable name. So for example, if I wasn't interested in the entire product, which is going to spit out 3 different things at me, I might be interested in just a particular property. So I will use the name of the variable, and I will use this dots. And which property do I care about? Well, let's get the cost. So if I do this, my console, the first statement, shows socks cost in stock, but the second console.log just shows the value I was interested in, and I was interested in the cost of this object, right? Product.cost, so it's going to spit out 5 for me. So this works for any type of property. You can get the value of it. I can get the name of my product. And there it is right there. This object is not final. I could add things to this object if I really wanted to. So for example, I could say product dot, what else could I define about this? Name, cost, and stock. I could say, I can make a property called total sales. And I could set this equal to, I don't know, 1,000. So what I've done is, through JavaScript, I've actually added another property called total sales, and I've set it equal to 1,000. But I've just done it down here. So after I add in that property, if I go to display all of the properties of that particular object, I will see a 4th property. Socks, cost, in stock, and total sales. So what you start with an object is not necessarily what you end with. You can always change it, add stuff to it if you feel the need to later on in your code. So this is called dot notation. When you use the name of your variable, which is holding an object, dot, and then you're talking about a particular property of that object, we would call this dot notation. I think that's it. There's objects for you.